B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to the East Coast to talk about one of the best storytelling MCs that the game has ever seen. From his early days with Dougie Fresh as MC Ricky D to his near perfect Def Jam debut, the ruler is hip hop royalty. So this week, top 10 Slick Rick songs. Yeah, we finally got to Slick Rick, the ruler. Of course, Raven Hunter's in the house. Diz Mega's back on the show. Three of us are going to hold it down, and as always, I'll start us off. And I'm going to the year 1994. The album is Behind Bars, and that's where he was when this came out. And I'm going with the song Behind Bars, but the Dum Diddy Dum remix featuring Warren G. On paper, it doesn't seem like that would necessarily work because it's a very G-Funk, Warren G type beat. But it just works with Slick for some reason. And Warren G even comes in and, kicks a verse. That's dope. They're both telling, stories about life behind bars. Great samples of KRS-One and Rick himself in the hook with some scratching. I really, really like this album, and I think it's super underrated. And I think it kind of got a bad rap at the time, but to me, it's aged very well. It might be my second favorite Slick Rick album. I don't know. But my number 10, Behind Bars, the Dum Diddy Dum remix. Raven, you're up at 10.
That album is, I've always said, one of my favorites of his. Like, a lot of people, my brother hates that album. A lot of people
A
slept on
lot of
that album.
people
I
do.
love it.
Yeah, I don't care.
But I went number 10. I went to Behind Bars with the song "Sitting in My Car." Just a dope little, love stories type of song. It's a dope storytelling with a little kind of silly ass beat. You got that Dougie Fresh feeling there, and I don't know, it's just got a nice vibe to it.
That would have been like number 12 on my list. It was in my list for a while. Because I think actually Dougie Fresh is doing the beatboxing on that
Yep.
song. So it's a little reunion. And you get the Patton and Slick Rick singing in that song that
That
only he
beautiful
can do.
chorus.
Right, right. All right, Diz, what's your number 10?
Right, number 10, I'm starting off on The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Treat Her Like a Prostitute, the first song. It just starts off the record. The first Slick Rick song I heard intentionally. I think I saw a children's story on TV back then, but some kid, I was just a kid, but introduced me to Slick Rick. And of course, I had the tape. I still remember it, the way it looked vaguely, but I had the dub, and Slick Rick did this beat. One of the memories I have of this record, though, I'll just go off beat real quick.
No.
I tried to get my parents to buy it for me at a flea market, at the cassette. And I remember my dad looked at the back and saw adult story on there and said, nope. And so I almost did not get to listen to Slick Rick. I got Tone Loc instead that day, but it's all good.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
that's Tone
yeah,
Loc's all right.
Can't
Well, let
hate
me
on that
tell you,
one.
man, I love the record. I memorized it from front to back very early on in my childhood and could still recite all the songs. But the first one, Treat Her Like a Prostitute, so cool, man. Got some old school record scratching in there. Pretty simple beat, but hilarious story, especially for a kid who was like 11 or something. I was just like, what? Pretty cool stuff, though. Treat Her Like a Prostitute. That's my number 10.
That was an honorable mention. Same here. As a kid, I love those type of songs, right? All right, number 9, and I'm gonna go to 1991's The Ruler's Back. And I just wanted to point out, so everyone knows Slick Rick got put in jail. I used to have a big free Slick Rick poster that I wish I still had. But he was sentenced and then he was out on bail for 3 weeks before he had to go into jail. And in those 3 weeks, he recorded this entire album. But I'm going with the song Ship. It's the beat and the flow on it is really amazing. It's not a well-known Slick Rick song, but I mean, if no one can picture it, look it up. It's called Ship, like a ship. Vance right on the beat. Rick just flows so damn smooth on a really, really fast beat. Another great sample of himself in the hook with dope scratching. But it's the flow. It's like a flawless flow. And to just knock it out in 3 weeks like that. And it was a different time in recording in 91. Now everything's on computers and digital. They were using reel to reels. You couldn't just edit, delete, add. I mean, to do a whole album in 3 weeks, I mean, they had to be living in that studio. So that's impressive to me. So Ship is number nine. Raven, you're up.
He also recorded some super low budget shitty videos for that album in that time frame,
Yes.
such as my number nine, I Shouldn't Have Done It. Man, I love that beat and I love the flow of that beat. I want to say that was the first single on that off that album, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But it was just a fun, dope flow and vibe. That video was just like a white background with close-up shots of his face and some girl dancing and shit, with like her jewelry falling off and shit while she's dancing. And but they went with it because they didn't have a lot of time, so fuck it.
Yeah, and we'll talk about more Slick Rick videos coming up. But that was honorable mention too. We're knocking them out. That's great. Diz number nine.
Well, you guys already said it, but Sitting in My Car is my number nine.
Oh, that's awesome.
You
You both
know,
had it.
yeah, I mean, how can you not like that song, you know? There's nothing gangsta or hard about it, you know. That's not really Slick Rick's style, man. He's a sad lover boy, and I
A
love him
a
for
little
it, you
bit
know.
silly.
Yeah, it is a little bit silly. You know, I like the old school beat on it, and of course Slick Rick singing is top notch, and the lyrics, come on, it's Slick Rick, man. It's a cool track.
All right. I'll go back for my number eight to 94's Behind Bars. And I'm going to song Let's All Get Down featuring Nice and Smooth. And Nice and Smooth, we haven't really talked about them much on this podcast yet. But this is kind of their prime. And you got Greg Nice on the beat, dope scratching over a boom bap beat. And Greg Nice did a lot of production. He did all the Nice and Smooth production, but for other MCs too. And he doesn't really get talked about enough. I like the song. We haven't talked about Nice and Smooth. You get two MCs who sound completely different, but it works. So half of it was I wanted to give love to Nice and Smooth, but every MC brings it on it, and it just gets me bobbing my head like a Pez dispenser. So that was my number eight. Let's all get down. Give some love to Greg Nice and Smooth B. Eight for you, Raven.
Number eight, I went to 88's Great Adventures and I went with Lick the Balls. Man, I've always thought that was a funny ass song. I love the beats. It's just a real fun vibe. Bomb Squad, I think, made that beat if I'm not
They did a
mistaken.
bunch of production on there,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
And yeah, I just remember I was like fucking 11 when I heard this song or something, and I just remember laughing my ass off and just saying, you know the title, now lick 'em.
That whole album almost could be honorable mentions. It was hard for me not to just list,
That's that's
all
an
12
easy five
songs.
mic. That's an easy five
Easily.
mic out.
One of the best debut albums of all time, no doubt about it. Diz, what's your number eight?
Number eight, I went to The Ruler's Back and picked out Venus. Similar to the last track, you know, it's just one of these heartbreaker songs, and I love it. I mean, there's just nothing like Slick Rick when he can sing and rap on his track. Like, it's just so natural and not even awkward. It's crazy. But he's a genius, man. He can do it, and he often does it. It's one of the reasons why he's one of the greatest storytellers because he knows how to change his voice at the right time, the tone, gets into character and all that good stuff. But Venus is just a cool track.
That was an honorable mention. You guys are just like killing it. And that's good to bring that up because he'll do multiple characters and change his voice, not like someone else doing this character. And it's just so flawless. Such a smooth delivery and voice. He has that little bit of English accent because he was, born in London and came over here like 8, 9 years old. Number seven, and by the time I'm done talking about this, I'm gonna get hate, most likely. Not from you two, from listeners. I'm going to the year 1999, The Art of Storytelling. And first I'll talk about this song. It's called I Run This. And actually Run from Run DMC did the beat. I don't know if that had something to do with the title, but it's an old school vibe. The scratching is next level dope. They're cutting in again, mixing in samples of his own songs because it doesn't get much more iconic than him. He doesn't need to take another artist's song. And Rick comes in and destroys it. But the artist storytelling, people love this album. And to me, it's disappointing.
Mm.
I've always felt it disappointing. And I'm going to tell you why. And there's a lot of big name producers, the who's who, right? The beats are dope. Slick Rick's raps are dope. Together, I don't think it works. I find like almost every song, like this isn't a Slick Rick beat, and it almost drowns his voice. Because there's certain beats just from the tone of his voice that can overpower him. And I felt there's a lot on here. And to be honest, probably the highlight of this album is the bonus tracks with Lottie Dottie and the show live, that they just threw on it. I know yeah, I'm gonna get hate. People love this record. And when it came out, I was disappointed. Re-listening to it now, it's not bad. I just feel like that beat shouldn't go with that voice. So I've always kind of been a hater on the art of storytelling, but I run this, that song's the shit. So that'll be my only entry from the art of
Mm.
storytelling. I know others will rep it. So what's your number seven, Raven?
Man, that album up until like this week, I would have said was my favorite Rick album. But
People love it. Yeah.
the beats, I'm not gonna be able to argue with you. It is a element of its time. The production on that album is very 99 2000. Everybody's beat sounded the way they sounded on that album, and it doesn't sound like it fits Rick. But it's probably still like his third best album at least. But anyway, yeah, number seven. I went back to Great Adventures and I went with The Moment I Feared. Because fuck, it's a masterclass in storytelling. It's Rick at storytelling's finest, which is hard to say. He's a master at storytelling. Every fucking song is a story. But The Moment I Feared is just, even back then, like I used to just really look for gangster tracks because that was my whole mind state and mood of music because of NWA. But The Moment I Fear always just kind of grabbed me a little bit. I always loved the story in that.
Yeah, another honorable mention. He gets recognized as one of the best storytellers because he truly is. And rappers in 2025 haven't caught up to his 85 storytelling. I mean, people aren't writing stories as good as Lottie Dottie, and that song is 40 years old. So
Facts.
just a genius. Diz, what's your number seven?
Number seven, Behind Bars. I love that's true part one. This is a total Slick Rick beat. It's a total Slick Rick type song. Man, I love it, man. I just love that song. And I love that there's a part two later. I kind of wish you would have just made one longer song out of it, you know. But it's all right. It's a nice surprise later on the record. So yeah, that's my track.
And on artist storytelling too, he does a one and two of a song. I Own
I Own
America.
America.
I Own America. Actually, that part two it almost made the list. I do have some honorable mentions off artist storytelling. All right, we are to six already, and I'm going back to 1991's The Ruler is Back. And I'm going with the song King, the very first track. And what a way to start off this second album. Again, Vance Wright on the beat. And if you listen to it, it almost kind of has a EDM or techno element to the beat. It's so fast and pounding, pounding, pounding. But Rick rises so flawlessly, such a flawless flow over this beat that almost sounds like it should be at a rave. Dope scratching and sampling of Run DMC in the hook. I just kept being so impressed how he rolled this beat. It just sounded so flawless. He never tripped up. It was just seamless. And this beat, I don't know the beats per minute, but it's a high number. So it's just super impressive. So King was my number six. What's yours, Raven?
Number six. I actually went to the art of storytelling with I Own America Part Two. I like both versions of I Own America. They're very dope beats. He has a really dope conceited flow. He addresses his deportation in those songs. Like it's more just I'm the shit storytelling from Slick Rick.
That was one of the honorable mentions I had. I kind of cheated to put both of them, but the second one is the superior one, I
Just a little
believe.
bit harder in my opinion.
Right. We are still on six, Diz.
All right, I'm going to the victory record and I'm bringing out Landlord. I think that is an awesome throwback type of track, but still for a modern day Slick Rick, you know, he's not out there in the streets or nothing. So he's coming with this grown-up scenario. Like, you know, at his age, yeah, he's a landlord. I get it, you know. And the way he writes about his tenants, how they're too poor, they don't speak English or Spanish, and you know, one winds up dead, and just all these scenarios. And you know, for him to bring his talent and his writing to a story like that and make a dope song out of it, It's like only Slick Rick could do this, man. Only Slick Rick. And he's credited with producing the track too. And I see his fingerprints all over the production on his records. So I always think that's interesting because it's a dope track. So
All right, we're halfway there. Now we're getting to the classics of classics, right? Now is when it got hard for me to put things in order. So I'm gonna go. I think for the first time, I'm going to 88's The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, and I'm going with Mona Lisa. This beat is just so iconic. Dun, 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 dun. Amazing storytelling from one of the best ever. I wear more gold than that guy from A-Team. That always made me smile. And when he goes through his whole name by letter, that was one of the first times I heard an MC do that. Like, R is for Ravishing. He went through each letter, and I don't remember hearing that before. If I did, it just didn't hit me. But Mona Lisa is so iconic. That beat is what really pushed it up to number 5 for me. But like we said, you could pick anything off of here, and I wouldn't even argue about it. But Mona Lisa made it to 5. Raven, you are up.
I'm just gonna sit down beside you. I got Mona Lisa at number 5. It's I met a girl at a pizza shop. It's just a dope story with a
Right.
dope beat. Another great example of dope storytelling from Slick Rick.
And so vivid. Like you're seeing these,
Whole
right?
picture
It's like
painted.
you're watching a movie. And some of his songs, you could almost make a whole movie off of them. They're so detailed. And well, that was a good pick. I would have put that at number 5 if I was making a list. Diz, do you have Mona Lisa at 5?
you know what? I'm gonna move it to 5 just because we're on topic, and I have no problem moving my 5 to 3 because it's Slick Rick, and this was not easy.
Right.
So let's talk about Mona Lisa. I love the lyrics, of course, the storytelling, and then he does some singing, or he actually has somebody do the singing on there, but it's perfect with the track, right? Because I don't believe that would be Slick Rick singing. It sounds too. It's a girl's
It's a girl
voice
singing,
in
I
there.
would think, unless they use some kind of pitch shifter, but
I don't think so. I think he actually brought a girl in to do that. And the way that he's writing the whole scene is awesome. And I do love the way he uses his name, K for the Kangles, which I got, and why not? It's like genius, And the back and forth between him and this girl, she's kind of being a little snarky kind of, and he's just like rapping for two people almost, he's like going back and forth with himself. And yeah, he's a genius, man. The beat's dope too. So I'm right there with you guys. Mona Lisa.
and one of those iconic voices, right? One of those voices you'll never confuse for someone else. One of hip hop's most memorable voices, up there with Eazy-E. And you know, if you hear Eazy-E, you don't think it's someone else. That's how
No.
Rick was. Okay, I'll start rambling about Eazy-E on a Slick Rick show, and I will go to my number 4. I'm going back there again. I love this record. 94's Behind Bars. This needs more love. And I'm going with the title track. For the first time ever, I have this 2 versions of the same track made my list, and I didn't want to do it, but damn, that Warren G remix was so dope. I had to sneak it in. But the original one is more superior. It starts off the record, and it's just perfect way to start out this record. The scratching and the hook is phenomenal. The sampling again of Rick, this kind of shit happens every day. He's on jail at the time, and he's giving you such a vivid, because he is actually living this story, look behind bars. But as with most prison songs, have that dark, gloomy feeling because shit, it's prison. But Rick was able to tell this story about being behind bars over a kind of a high tempo, funky beat, but it worked. Even the Warren G version isn't uh, hard, or it's a more up tempo type vibe. At the end of the day, again, this album is so underrated and everybody hated it. And even looking back 30 years later, I mean, he recorded this while he was in jail. Like his lawyer would come with equipment into the room, and it doesn't sound, because there's been other, like Pooh Man did an album from jail. It
Steve
sounds like
Murder
he's,
did a ton of them, and it's
yeah,
awful.
it's like they're rapping over the phone. I mean, the audio's terrible because they're in jail. He must have pulled some goddamn. Maybe it was a Slick Rick fan at Prison Guard, but he does not sound like he recorded that in any way in jail. Those vocals are clean, and again, it's '95. This isn't digital, so man, just impressive to me. Behind Bars is the shit. And that was the first single also from this record. All right, my ramble's done. Raven, you're up at 4.
I'm gonna skip to the last song and go with Behind Bars remix with Warren G for my number 4. Because I like the little G funk sound that he brought to that song. It doesn't touch the original, in my opinion, and I think it's hilarious that you chose both of them. And maybe you'll find out why later. But yeah, I went with Behind Bars remix.
And I didn't want to for that reason. I was like, I can't have the same song. And there's so many classic Slick Rick songs. How can I have the same one? But damn, Warren
Because it
G,
bookends that it bookends the album perfectly,
it
first and
really,
last
it
song.
really does. And this is Warren G in his prime producing. I mean, he was at the top of his game. We're on 4, and Diz, you're up.
All right, I'm going through Behind Bars again and picking out Get a Job, produced by
Ah,
Pete Rock. I mean, more vivid descriptions from Slick Rick. He's kind of cocky on it, of course, and he's just like telling these bums to get a job. And I like the way that people are coming to him, asking him for money, you know. And he's just kind of like talking about these bums. And I think that's why I loved Landlord so much now that I think about it, because it brought me back to that same feel that this track gave me. And I've always loved this track, Get a Job. Love the beat too. That's one of my top Slick Rick tracks. I love it.
then that again, honorable mention. I only got a couple left. We won't even have an honorable mention segment, and we're knocking them all out. Before we start the top 3, I don't know if this was just a rumor in the Midwest or what, but when I was a kid, the story we all heard was the eye patch was he got into a knife fight and someone stabbed his eyeball out, so he was missing an eye. And I believed that up till I mean, as an adult. And then I heard kind of different stories. I kind of then forgot about it. So while doing this, I Googled it. But the story on like Wikipedia and another thing too I saw was that when he was a little kid, like 4 or 5, a window broke and a piece of glass flew into his eye and he lost his eye. And that's probably more
Not as
likely than the
cool.
knife fight. But did you guys ever hear rumors about why he only had one eye, or do you remember hearing anything? That might have just been my neighborhood. I was just
I
curious.
remember we thought he got, I don't know where we got this from, but he got stabbed by his cousin or something in a fight. Um,
So that's probably the
with
same story I was hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, we always got heard that he got stabbed in the
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is a better story. I mean, even if I was Rick, I'd be like, yeah, man, I was in this fight. I got. All right, top 3. Whew. I don't own it anymore. I used to own it on vinyl. The year is 1985. The Show single. These top 3 for me could have probably been in any order. Rick and Dougie Fresh work so well together. And again, this is 85. There wasn't many MCs telling descriptive stories like this. The classic beatboxing by Dougie Fresh, dope rhymes by MC Ricky D, plus a sample of the Inspector Gadget theme song. I loved Inspector Gadget when I was a kid. I can remember this coming out and being like, oh, they're doing an Inspector Gadget song. But it's just so iconic. Damn, The Show. Just a hip hop historical song. So that was my number 3. Wish I wouldn't have sold the vinyl 20 years ago, but that's life. Raven, what's your number 3?
Man, my number 3, looking at it, it's gonna probably people are gonna be like, the fuck's wrong with me when they hear what I got above this, but I went with Children's Story. Because it's so fucking iconic. Honestly, it probably should be number 1 on most people's list. It's the song people think of, but I got a personal love for a few other songs that just to me were a little bit better. But yeah, Children's Story.
I won't judge that too much. It's in your top 3. It's not like you didn't put it on. Diz, your number 3.
number 3, Teacher Teacher,
Oh,
The Great
Oh
Adventures of
yeah.
Slick Rick. I mean, come on, his flow is impeccable. It is awesome. It was really hard to make this list, let me tell you, but I think just because the way he rhymes on this one and how he goes with the beat makes it a top-notch track above some of the others, in my opinion. I mean, like you said, Raven, he's got this conceited flow, and it's just oozing with conceitness on here, you know? Like he's the teacher. I love it, man. The beat's dope. Slick Rick is levels above everybody else when it comes to this type of delivery.
An honorable mention that has written beside it, number 11. Such a great song. And I think that was at 10 before I bumped it, where Warren G kept getting in me. And I was like, well, I have a lot of stuff from that first record, but I'm glad that got love. Okay, number 2. I'm just going to keep you in the year 85. That same record, the show, the B-side was Lottie Dottie, and that's my pick. You know how iconic a record has to be for the B-side to be fucking Lottie Dottie? Just amazing storytelling, right? Top tier. It doesn't get much better. And more dope beatboxing by Dougie Fresh. One of the best to ever do it. And just filled with there's so many iconic lines that you heard other people sample or put in, or, from other songs. He paints a picture as clear as, a HD TV. Of course, Snoop famously redid it on Doggy Style. The bitch been around since before my mother's born. Just the way he says that shit. And I mean, just classic line after classic line. Lottie Dottie was at one for a while. People probably can guess what my number one is, but fuck, Lottie Dottie's so good. And no one has brought it up yet, so we might be hearing that number 2. Raven?
Lottie Dottie. I'm gonna stick with you. Number 2. I couldn't not get it on the list. Yeah, it's iconic. You've already covered everything I could personally say about it. It could have easily been, and probably could have also should have been number 1, but it's just a classic. It's fucking hip hop history.
Right, it is. On the list of most famous hip hop songs, it's on that list. Lottie Dottie for you, Diz?
No, no. I'm actually pulling something out of the art of storytelling. The only track I got on here. Like you had said that it's kind of a controversial, I guess, record for you, but most people love the record.
Most people love it.
In my opinion, I thought it was kind of slapped together with the sign of the times, like, oh, we got cannabis, okay, whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's definitely a time capsule, though, on what was hot with Def Jam specifically. But
Thanks.
the track I want to talk about is Who Rotten 'Em, where Slick Rick puts himself in the shoes of a slave in Egypt. And the way he talks about being brought, kind of summoned by the king, and that line where he's like, what's your name? Ricky. Ricky what? Ricky, Your Majesty, and then he starts rapping, and the queen is like, oh my God, I love this guy. And talks about like, don't throw the other slave to the lions because his raps will lose spirit. He needs that competition. And I mean, his story writing and the way he connects everything together is so descriptive on this song that I could see it. I could just see what he's saying. I think it's a genius track. It's pretty under the radar, but in my opinion, I think it's one of his best.
And as much as I was kind of disappointed by the album, Ricky didn't lose anything lyrics wise. You guys probably explained it better than I even knew was the time capsule. It's very 1999.
Product of the
and
time.
it just doesn't age well to my ears at all.
That was definitely an honorable mention for me, though. I do love that song.
No, it was an honorable mention, but I remember hearing it. It's just there's so many great storytelling tracks. And we're going to talk about the greatest one, number 1 from 88's Great Adventures of Slick Rick, Children's Story. Because I don't know if a story's ever been told better than this. The gold standard for storytelling in hip hop, Children's Story. Just one long verse, just painting such an incredible audio picture. You are watching it in your head. I mean, you are visioning what these people look like, their actions. Music wise, a dope beat made by Rick himself. You're talking before, Diz, about him producing. It's absolutely impossible for me not to rap along if I hear this. I have to. You could have a gun to my head. I'm going to shoot you if you rap along. Here we go. And I'd get shot. One of the best rap songs of all time. And it even has a memorable video, but kind of for the wrong reasons, because it kind of has the events playing out, but it's more lighthearted way, and it's in black and white in the 1920s, like Keystone Cops, and it's just very weird. And they really missed a really good opportunity to tell the actual story in the video. And then as a kid in '88, it didn't strike me, but now as a middle-aged man in the beginning when Uncle Ricky tells the story, is to the kids are in the bed, and then in between them under the covers with them is this like old guy with a mustache. I'm like, oh shit, Ricky, there's a pedophile with your nephews and your niece and nephews. That video is always weird to me, especially at this age. And they did that with Teacher too. Speaking of that, it's a really weird video too. It's black and white, and it's all like people from like the 20s doing like 20s type dances. It's weird as hell. I don't know who was producing his videos in '88. Def Jam had a good enough budget. They should have got him some better videos. But who cares? This song is classic. Knock him out the box, Rick. One of my favorite songs, period, ever. Children's story. Raven, I know it's not your number one. What do you got?
The reason I thought it was so funny that you would choose Beyond Bars and the remix is because I thought I was really out of line for doing that. And my number one is the opening song from Behind Bars. Prince Paul kills that beat. Rick kills that flow. The sampling, scratch, everything about it is a perfect Rick song for me. It's just nice and hard.
Yeah, I never thought anyone else would not only have both, but have it that high. I love that. From the first day I heard that first
One
track
of the
on that,
reasons I was like, this is probably
love
one of
it.
his best albums. It's just such a good
Love it.
song.
It's so underrated, and people really hated on it at the time for whatever reason. All right, Diz, what's your number one?
Number one is Children's Story. Likely the first Slick Rick video I ever seen. And I'm not sure if it's the first song. I don't know. I can't tell you what came first, the chicken or the egg, but this song, I memorized it top to bottom, of course. Like they were like my homies in school, like back then. We're like in junior high, and we're like trying to memorize this record, all of us. And we come to school, we're just like reciting it, like we're cool or something. Children's story, though. Yeah, what can be said about it? It's the standard for storytelling. It has been for so long. It's the blueprint. Even now, rappers could take it as a blueprint for how to tell a story, get to the climax and then the end, which always has some irony in it. And Slick Rick knows what he's doing. He did back then, and I don't even know how old he was, but he was pretty a brilliant, young, talented guy, that's for sure. And Children's Story is probably his magnum opus, for out of all the songs that he's ever made, in my opinion. It's been sampled or stolen from countless times. Anybody, everybody. It's almost it's so common that you can't count. Just talking to you guys, it's like, I always thought that Slick Rick was the main influence behind Snoop Dogg and Nas. Because when I listen to them, I can always hear their like Slick Rick's influence. And to be influenced from like, and those two guys are like the greats, West and East. And to just be born out of that Slick Rick era unapologetically, it's so cool. It just shows you the influence and power and talent that Slick Rick had. He's mind blowing.
No, next level. And I think Snoop's even said that, Slick Rick was one of his biggest influences, and you can hear it in his flow.
Hmm.
He does it in his own way, but you can hear the influence there. But yeah, Everlast redid Children's Story with Rozelle from the Roots beatboxing the beat. And he did a fine job. So honorable mentions, you guys got almost all of them. I only have a couple that weren't brought up. From the Great Adventures, the only one no one brought up that I had down was The Ruler's Back. Another one that unfortunately people know the Jay-Z redid it, and probably more people know the Jay-Z version. And whenever that happens, it's just sad to me. You guys hit everything off a ruler's back. From the artist storytelling, I would have almost put money that someone would have had Street Talking featuring Outkast. Because I just remember people loving that song. So I figured,
That's
well, everyone
oddly
must
one of
have.
my least favorites on that
Is it?
album. Oddly, I don't like that beat.
And the other one from artist storytelling, which I do think works, is Unify with Snoop Dogg. They kind of go back and forth. It almost reminds me of a lighthearted version of two of America's Most Wanted, where Pac and Snoop go back and forth. This Snoop and Rick go back and forth, I think works. And off of Victory Stress, that's that first song you were talking about, Raven. That's definitely the highlight. And there's a song called Documents that I kept listening to. I think that's a single because when I see ads for it, like on Facebook, that's the beat that's playing. Did we miss any honorable mentions?
Kill Ends from Artist Storytelling. I love that beat and the way he rides it. And then Me and Nas Bring It the Hardest probably would have been like 11 or 12. I love Nas in that song.
And then those songs are pretty dope. I love it when we get a Slick Rick and Nas. I think they only have a couple of songs together, but I mean they're geniuses. One of the songs that almost made my list was "Hey Young World."
That's
I
classic one, yeah.
mean, we're getting
Classic.
some like I guess BG wisdom from Slick Rick, who is like a I don't know what you want to say. He's like a 30-year-old or whatever, an old guy. Like he's got this old man wisdom,
Mhm.
at such a young age, and I love it. And then I don't know if you guys ever heard this song from Ghostface Killa, The Sun. Yeah,
It's a
What
featuring
good
record
Slick
song.
is that
Rick.
off of?
I thought Slick Rick was awesome on that one.
Have
Fuck
a good
yeah.
night. Peace.
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 Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy. Too bold for the school, still a b-boy. East coast to the west, b-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy. Too bold for the school, still a b-boy. East coast to the west, b-boys worldwide.